This is crazy. And then this is the whole living space.
Yep.
Good morning everyone and welcome to day 3 of my Hong Kong series. Just a quick little update before we start. Shockingly, I was not able to obtain a visa for China within 24 hours. So there's been a little change of plan. I've booked a flight and I'm flying to a new country tomorrow, and I'm going to be there for around 2 weeks, 3 weeks-ish, and then I'm going to have to fly back to Hong Kong to collect my visa for China, and then we're going to head over to China. So lots of really interesting content coming, just in a different order than I had originally planned, but that's okay. Travel is all about spontaneity. I got a really interesting comment on my vlog yesterday. If you haven't watched that, make sure to go over and watch it. I visited something called the Monster House in Hong Kong, which shows kind of how densely packed and small some of the housing conditions are in Hong Kong. And I got a comment which said that the houses in the Monster building are actually still really expensive. So even to live in a really tiny, small, not great apartment, you still have to have a lot of money. So I did a little bit of research into what is known the cage housing epidemic in Hong Kong. I'm going to tell you more about what that is later on, but it literally does what it says on the tin. Over 20% of people living in Hong Kong are living in what I would describe as bird cages, and that is just because the rent in Hong Kong is so extortionately high in comparison with the wages, and there's no regulations to cap that. Hong Kong is a really rich city. I'm walking down the street and just around the corner here is like Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes. We've got all the giant skyscrapers. But today I want to delve a little bit deeper into the real struggle for the majority of people who live in Hong Kong. Hopefully this is going to be a really interesting and eye-opening video. I personally think this is a really important topic and not one that can be ignored. So let's jump straight in. So a 50 square meter apartment, 1-bedroom apartment in Hong Kong, so maybe something like this, would go for around 1.1 million, and the majority of people in Hong Kong can't afford that. The average salary is 20,000 Hong Kong dollars a month, which doesn't seem that bad, but when the cost of living is so high. So instead a lot of people have to rent, and this is an estate agent wall. So we'll just have a look to see how much the price of some of these are. This one here, it's a 24 square meter apartment and rent is 13,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. That's £1,300. Like, I don't know about anyone else in the UK, but if you think about Newcastle, you could rent a 3-bedroom house for maybe half that. And here you're buying one of a tiny 24 square meter apartment for £1,300 a month. As I said before, the average salary here is 20,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. So if you're then paying 13,000 Hong Kong dollars per month on rent, you've only got 7,000 Hong Kong dollars per month for food, electricity, water, hospital bills, anything like that. And if you do manage to survive on that per month, you've got nothing left over to save. You've got nothing to help you build a better life for yourself. So because of the price, often people will share apartments with maybe family members. So a lot of people in Hong Kong just stay at home until they're married, or if they don't get married, they just stay at home forever with their family. However, a lot of people in this position in Hong Kong are immigrants, and they don't have anyone they can share an apartment with. Their family live back home and they send money back to them monthly. So they need to find an apartment small enough that they can afford it to live on their own. This is where the subdivision apartments come in. Basically, this is where the landlord has taken an apartment. Someone can't afford that apartment on their own, so they've just split into tiny, smaller subdivisions within the apartment, small enough that someone can afford to rent out a tiny space. That subdivision apartment there is 12 square meters for 6,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. Bear in mind that's still £600 per month. I find that baffling. You could genuinely rent a 3-bedroom house in Newcastle for £500 a month, and here 12 square meter subdivision apartments are going for £600 per month. The subdivisions in Hong Kong are really a grey area because they're not legal, but the government kind of turns a blind eye to them, because if they all of a sudden say these subdivisions are illegal, there's going to be 500,000 homeless people overnight, and that's just something that they wouldn't really want to deal with. So I think it's kind of in the grey zone of whether or not these subdivisions are actually okay. Also, no one regulating the price, so not only are these subdivisions not really very ethical, but they are so expensive, and there's no one to regulate that. There's not a cap on rent. Landlords can literally charge whatever they want. So there's no one stopping a landlord charging 6,000 Hong Kong dollars per month for a 12 square meter room. Just to mention as well that a lot of people who are living below the minimum wage in Hong Kong are elderly people or people who are sick who can't afford to work, and often they'll be living on the 8th floor of these buildings and there are no elevators, so they have to walk all the way up to the top of there in order to get to the house. Every time they leave the house, it's just not great. We're just on our way to actually go and visit one of the infamous subdivision units here in Hong Kong. So we're going to see what the actual living conditions look like for roughly around 20% of people that live in Hong Kong. The guy that's showing me around, his boss actually owns one of these units, and that's why we're able to go in, have a look inside. I can record and show you what it's actually like, the size of it, how a family would fit in there without actually going into someone else's house and infringing on their personal space. However, there are actual residents that live in this building as well, so the unit that we're going to visit has real neighbours, so I'm going to have to be careful, and I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to actually film or say while I'm in there, just in case, because I want to be as respectful as possible, and obviously these are these people's homes, but I'll show you as much as I can.
Yeah, I just want to go to some places I've never been before, so...
Yeah, makes sense. So you just like on 2 weeks holiday?
Yeah.
Are you staying in Seoul or are you planning to go like...
Zealand's are so low.
I'm just
Oh my god, look how low it is.
A week in Seoul, it's a lot.
I'm like 5'5" and I'm like hitting the ceiling. The ceilings are very low as well.
Yeah. So the whole thing is not built in European standard. You see the ceiling is so short. But let's do something. Let's try to pack together. We only got 5 people here. If you want to take like videos, pictures, I'll leave you enough time after I talk everything, explain everything. And how do you feel?
This is small, bro.
Yeah.
I would describe it as like a dormitory room from like university students sometimes. But this one is not for one person. Oh. It's for a family of 4.
What?
No way.
There was a family of 4 living here. Or I could... the capacity. I've seen worse, because when you kept in touch with a lot of people in such condition.
Is this part of the house, is it?
No.
Just this?
Just this.
They only have this room.
There's a washroom here. There's a washroom. Yeah, you got everything. So you got bathrooms, you got toilets, and look up, you got shower. You give me a favor. Try to stand inside.
Yeah.
Can you turn your body?
Like
Barely.
Like when I'm on the side, can I close the door?
Yeah, you can do this. So when they do shower, they just close the one. But if you see carefully, it doesn't make sense.
I can like just sit.
Yeah.
That's because I'm skinny.
I can barely turn. I can never turn.
Yeah.
I'm too big, bro. So this is not for some usual usage. If you actually want to shower, you need to sit on the toilet. And you do shower like this, holding the shower on top of you. But the worst design is the AC. Can you find where is the air conditioner? It's not this one, not this one, but it's inside the toilet. Yeah, between the walls. So the output of the AC is inside the toilet. You can smell what your parents ate last night. Yeah, you can just continue eating McDonald's last night. Yeah. And this is, I would describe a flat surface. It's not even a table. Okay. They just got the kid do the homework here, and the back here, when the family need to have dinner, they just pull out the table and they all sit on the ground. You can cook, technically. So this is the kitchen area. We got the sink, we got electric stove, rice cooker, kettle, and the fridge. Only thing you should not do when you walk around here, don't open the fridge. You may expect to see a lot of dirty stuff inside, like especially some bugs. What kind of bugs? The classic cockroach. So don't open this one, please. Okay. And the
cockroaches are currently in there.
Yeah, no, they're all dead, but we try our best to put them inside. But the final thing you should focus is the bed. I just mentioned you can pack a family of 4, right? 2 kids sleep on top, 2 adults sleep on the bottom floor. This is how they could do. It's not something you enjoy to do. Okay. You also see the cage there. The cage serves the function like this. So I'll turn to your side as well. It's like one cage in the picture. The size is exactly like that. Every one cage fit 1 person, and they got 3 levels of cages. 15 people at maximum living together. 15 of them, they are not friends, they're not roommates, they're all strangers. And why does that look like a cage is for your own security. Yeah. Before you go, you lock them. Usually they use like an easy lock, but if you want to play safe, you use the bicycle lock to lock the entrance before you go.
And that's to stop people taking your stuff?
Exactly. But if you think carefully, it doesn't make any sense. If you got the thing you use in the factory to cut off metal, then you can easily cut off these parts. Right? Chop, chop, chop. Then you can get your hands inside the cage and grab all the belongings.
And does that happen?
Not much.
No.
Hong Kong people is weird. With the crime rate here is so low. You see how bad is the living condition here, right? And we call this part.
What is the rent for this unit? What is the rent for this unit?
The rent, this one.
Yeah, only this.
You can check the number.
5,600.
Yeah, 5,600.
That's crazy.
In Hong Kong per month.
That is right.
And if you want to rent a cage, in average is 2,000 Hong Kong dollars.
Okay.
They need to pay for the cage. Yes. But yeah, you can see people living there, they're not happy at all. And to be honest, if you want to try, you can just open the entrance. You can try to sit at the entrance and get your head inside the cage. You feel no hope. It's one picture. Oh yeah, you can do that. After you're doing that.
This is crazy. And then this is the whole living space.
Yeah. How do people spend the time inside? And I can show you some examples.
And then
The
this
whole
would just
album
close
you can
like
just turn
this.
into the pages like this.
Because it's like fancy here, does it?
This is everything. This is how crazy we can get for the living condition in Hong Kong. But I need to highlight something. We're not trying to do comparisons. We're not saying we are the worst in the world. No, absolutely. Every big city got the same problem. We're just focusing within Hong Kong. When you travel in the brighter side, and you can do comparison with this side, then you can see what we try to show you and what's the real Hong Kong look like. If you're a Hong Kong resident, you can apply for public housing. Yes, but for a lot of people live like this, they are mostly new immigrants. So they just came here, they're not yet having the Hong Kong citizenship. So they can only struggle, and they need to afford this kind of expensive housing prices.
And is the public housing much better than this?
Much better.
Is it?
Much better. To be honest, public housing is a good system
Okay.
in Hong Kong. Amazing. 30% of people using public housing right now. But maybe the only thing is not yet enough. Not
Okay.
enough supply for people.
Why don't you put like a top on prices,
No.
like in different countries, which
it's
they do in
difficult to
Netherlands too?
regulate.
Sorry?
Because it's difficult to regulate.
Okay,
This is
yeah.
technically illegal.
Yeah, okay, I
And
get
the
it.
government know them doing, but they know which one
Yeah,
is doing
sure.
it.
If they like regulate.
This is the full size of this room. Guys, that was wild. Not only are people paying the equivalent of £560 per month to live in that house, they also have to pay an extra £200 per month to have a cage around the bed. Like, it genuinely looked like an animal cage, like a bird cage. At home, if you had a big dog, say a golden retriever or a German shepherd, it would be in a bigger cage and have more space than that person living in that room. I've also heard there's a big drug problem in Hong Kong, which just adds an element of unsafety if you're living in those tiny, densely compact conditions with strangers who could be getting up to God knows what. Like, it's outrageous. The unit that I just visited was on floor 1.5. Not floor 1, not floor 2, floor 1.5. So floor 1.5 was originally built to store the aircon, but the landlords have seen a way that they think they can make extra money, and they've converted that into houses for more people. Actually now heading over to a rooftop, which I've been told is a perfect view of all these high-rise buildings in Hong Kong, because a lot of them have illegal additions added onto the top of them. So in Hong Kong it's illegal to have your building above a certain height or a certain amount of floors, but a lot of buildings you can see that people have just added floors onto the top in order to fit more houses in there. It's quite hard to see from down here, so we're gonna head up to the rooftop and get a better view of those. So just came up with this rooftop.
You see how many illegal stuff in front of you? Because we cannot see how much are there on the ground floor.
So you can see really clearly all the bits that are illegal from here. So they're not allowed to build higher than the top level, but they've built on extra here to fit in more people. Obviously the government don't do anything about it, because otherwise the people would be homeless. It's crazy, the view from up here. And right in the back, these tall buildings are the public housing. I'm actually really curious about the public housing in Hong Kong. My guy told me that if he was to apply for public housing today, he would be waiting between 8 and 15 years to get somewhere to live. Obviously it's different for different people, like if you're pregnant or you have a family, but up to 15 years wait. I don't think it's that the public housing in Hong Kong is bad. It's a good system and the housing is of good condition. It's just there's not enough of it. I'm gonna head over now and see how close I can get. Obviously I really doubt I'm gonna be able to go inside and actually show you the apartments because these are people's homes, but I will get as close as I can while still being respectful, and I'll show you everything that I see. Another thing I found really interesting that the guide said, someone asked like, oh, do people ever just sleep in their cars? And the guide said most of the time it is more expensive to pay to park a car than it is to pay for rent. And you know how expensive rent is. I've been going on about it all video, so to me that's just absolutely crazy. So yeah, the answer is no, people don't sleep in their cars simply because they can't afford it. Okay, I came to Choi Hung Estate, which is probably the most iconic public housing estate in Hong Kong, and I've came to just kind of get a feel for the area and see if it's any different to the houses I've just viewed. Straight away, the exterior is totally different. It's so much more clean, nice, bright, colourful. The guy did say that the public housing is great. It's way, way better than the conditions that people are living in the subdivision units. Okay, here we are. If you've googled Hong Kong, you'll have seen this famous view of the rainbow houses, the rainbow basketball court, all the kids running around playing basketball and roller skating. I've literally just asked ChatGPT, and apparently it's all rainbow because it's meant to inspire hope and bring brightness into the lives of people that live here. And I just think straight away this is so much of a better environment. Like, I would rather live here a million times more than them subdivision units. Look at these. Apart from the rainbow colours, it's not that different from the outside, but at least you know that each unit is one unit. There aren't 10 sub-units inside each little section. You can definitely see like a sense of community here. There's loads of people sat together on benches, chilling, obviously playing basketball, taking photos, eating. I think this is like one of the biggest differences between this and the subdivisions, where in the subdivisions you're going to be trying your best to avoid every other person in there. Like, you're going to want to get as much privacy as you possibly can, where here there's like a proper sense of community. It's 1,000,000% nicer here. On the way up, I also saw that this place is built right next to a metro, and apparently the location of public housing is built in strategic places just to make life in general easier for people. So not only have they got a nicer place to live, it's closer to public transport, it's easier for them to get to work, it's just like a better quality of life in general. So there you have it. Subdivisions are definitely a stark contrast to the public housing in Hong Kong, but then again, the public housing in Hong Kong is a stark difference between the luxury giant skyscrapers, which is also a stark difference from the huge mansions that are in the mountains and all the developers of these properties live. It's just crazy. There is a huge wealth gap divide in Hong Kong. It's really interesting to see, but obviously it's really hard for the people that live here. Okay, we're now back over at Hong Kong Island, which is where I'm staying, and this just literally shows the duality of everything so clearly. Like, look at this whole street, it's Louis Vuitton, what is that, Prada, Fendi, like, it's wild coming from the places that we visited today. There's such a difference in Hong Kong. But anyway, I'm gonna end today's vlog here. I need to go back and pack for my next country. Tomorrow's vlog I'll be in a completely new country, which is really exciting. I hope you've enjoyed something a little bit different today, a little bit more in depth rather than just a sightseeing vlog. But yeah, if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.